I think even our generation, like if I meet someone and they're like, oh, I actually don't have social media, I'm like, you are so much cooler than me. Yeah. Right off the bat.
It makes them mysterious.
Yes, I'm like, the lore. The lore that you have.
Like, what's your story? You can't find online.
Who are you?
Are you from the future?
Exactly.
Are you
like,
a god?
This way.
Yeah.
Welcome to the intergenerational summer series of the Seacoast podcast. In this 9-week series, you'll hear a variety of opinions and convictions on subjects like technology, AI, church unity despite political differences, parenting, cultural issues, and everyday life. 3 groups, each of similar ages, record 3 times each to discuss the same topics. They'll listen in on one another's conversations, reflect on what they hear, and chime in on how their own experiences have shaped their views. As you'll soon hear, though, despite some age-related chemistry in each group, everyone has their own opinions on the issue. The common ground they all share: all 3 groups are connected by humanity as a given, their faith in a redeeming God, and a desire to follow Jesus. I'm Lynn Stroy, a host of the podcast, and today you'll hear from 4 Gen Zers who, by the way, are the only group in this series made entirely of the same generation. People in Generation Z were born between 1997 and 2012, meaning they are now between 13 and 28 years old. From a bird's eye view, this generation is known for digital nativity, pragmatism, social consciousness, and mental health transparency. They are the first generation to grow up with smartphones, and they're more likely to reject labels, blend ideologies, and engage in faith on their own terms or not at all.
There is like the struggle of like comparison. I have to raise my kid to know how to use social media the right way. Like that's going to be something that parents are going to have to teach their kids, which is something that our parents didn't really know how to do yet. But now that we know that, like that's going to just have to be a natural part of raising a child. It's like, hey, this is what it is. This is how it's supposed to be used.
That was Allon Olandez. Allon is a 3rd-generation photographer with 7 years of experience. Outside of photography, he enjoys running, table tennis, and traveling, having visited 5 countries outside the United States. He spent 10 years in music and even participated in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Allon has been on staff at Seacoast for 4 years.
Especially when it comes to just technology and how dependent we can become on it and how much depression and suicide rates and things like that, just what social media can do to people. And what I've seen it do to me, what I've seen it do to friends, it's hard to be optimistic. It's made to be addictive, especially as someone who's 17. It's just so easy to reach for it.
You just heard from Layla Griffin. Layla graduated from high school this year in a small North Carolina mountain town. Next year, she plans to attend Appalachian State University to major in business. She loves to be outdoors, serve others, and travel. In her free time, Layla enjoys hiking, reading, and spending time with her family and friends.
It's funny because it's like remnants are still here, but we don't live that way anymore. And so it's like we live with these relics of the past that are like, I mean, it was born in 2008. I drive a 2006 car.
Hayes Herlong, everyone. Hayes is a 24-year-old from Charleston who loves Jesus, surfing, adventure, and her one-eyed cat. She is currently pursuing ministry through the residency program at Seacoast, where she serves in youth ministry and loves seeing how God is moving in the lives of middle and high school students.
My oldest sister, Anna J, is in the backwoods of Mississippi doing student teaching, but I really don't know what it would look like without being able to FaceTime her. But there's definitely a different contrast kind of behind being able to see somebody face-to-face. You can just learn so much about a person face-to-face that texting them might look different. I'm sure we'd probably figure a little bit more about Layla if she was in person. I mean, we don't know what shoes she's wearing or
pajamas.
Actually, I am.
And lastly, that was Abel Walters. Abel is an 18-year-old rising senior and recent graduate of Seacoast's 412 leadership program. He now serves on the Seacoast prayer team and the teaching team with custom students. He is passionate about mission and ministry that God has put in his heart. He loves basketball, golf, and movies, especially the amazing Spider-Man 2. And he has an older taste in music that his 3 younger brothers don't quite understand yet. Don't you love them already? Well, let's get started. Today and in the next 2 episodes, it's all about technology and AI.
Well, hey guys, you are listening to the Seacoast podcast Summer. It's a special summer series. What's up, YouTube people? It's 4 generational Zers, and it's the only pure group out of the 3 representing one generation. Y'all are all Gen Z. And from what I hear, you guys are a bunch of lazy, demanding, and entitled brats.
You've heard right. That's right about Allon.
So true. Yeah.
Hey, you'll get to defend the stereotypes in our 3rd recording, but were you kind of, did that sting a little bit or more of an eye roll like we've heard it before?
Yeah, I roll.
Eye roll?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shrug,
Definitely
eye roll.
heard that
It
one.
just makes me
Shrug,
laugh.
eye roll. So here's what I think is funny. Let me tell y'all a couple of observations. First of all, we have Allon over here with a laptop, and he doesn't have his laptop open like Abel does to refer to his notes. He's actually finishing up an application for a client, a little deadline he's got to meet. And then this, I'm clapping my hands for y'all. Did y'all know how often people come into this studio and I ask them if they would like a snack or a beverage and they turn it down? All 3 of y'all pick something up. I'm like, come on, that's what it's there for. That's what it's there for. Was that embarrassing?
No, you know what? I don't know how to break it to you that I did, in fact, bring this from home.
Oh, you brought that from home. Dang
Brought it from
it.
home.
Okay. Well, 2
we're
out
so
of the
close.
3 in studio picked something up. So, listeners, you just heard Lynn. You finished up, Allon?
Yeah, we're good. We're good to go.
Good job, man. All right, so Lynn just introduced these 3 youngsters. Can I call you guys youngsters?
Yeah.
Layla, youngsters?
I don't care.
Okay. So here's the thing. I work with 4 different Gen Zers on my team. One of them is Allon, and sometimes I'm referred to as Uncle Joey. So you guys are welcome to call me Uncle Joey, Pastor Joey, or Joey is fine as well. What do you think about this series and being a part of this representing Gen Z?
I think this is just a super cool concept that you just get to hear from 3 different groups of, different age groups and like how they've grown up. And especially as we're just the newer generation of being like, there's a whole new way that we've been raised. And it's just really cool to get each and every perspective from all the way
For
down.
sure. Layla, did you just pay me a compliment and say, very good idea, Joey? Uncle Joey?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Y'all, so, I
I'm
mean,
glad you took it that way.
thank you. Y'all are going to hear from someone in the boomer group that's 4 generations removed from you guys, the silent generation. And we're going to let her explain herself, Miss Susan, who I love to death, but her and her husband, Roy, have a landline and they share a cell phone.
That's sick.
Awesome.
That's
sick.
awesome.
I love it.
All right, so for our listeners' sake, you guys have been introduced a little bit, but what I would like to do, and I will go ahead and just clear this up with everybody. We've got 3 in studio, and we've got 1 remote guest, and y'all are going to go one by one so people can hear your voice and hear what your name is. So just say, my name is first name, last name, and then I told y'all I was going to be asking you guys, on a scale of 1 to 10, how's life treating you these days? So we'll start with our Asheville girl, or would you say Black Mountain is more accurate?
Black Mountain's more accurate.
All right,
Yeah.
Black Mountain, right outside of Asheville. We got Layla Griffin, but let you say your name.
Okay.
I spoiled it.
No, you're good. I'm Layla Griffin. I'm from Black Mountain, and I would say a 7.
7. All right. You want to explain that? Here, I'll put it this way. Why not a 10? Tell us what knocks it down from a 10.
Well, life's not perfect, so a 10 would be perfect.
Hey, right there is good enough for me, unless you want to go further. That's a perfect answer.
That's fine.
All right.
Nope.
Allon. And Allon, I've been told by, I bet you know Eric, who works here as well, and he made an observation today. I told him about the series. He's Gen Z. He was born on the early end of Gen Z, and he told me that most people say the beginning of the early Gen Z is like night and day difference from the late Gen Z.
Whoa.
Yes.
Which would mean you guys are representing almost two different generations. He
Yes.
said that you are more of a millennial than you are Gen Z. Just crazy observation. These
Yeah.
are arbitrary, all of it's arbitrary. It's just based on from this year to this year. But would you say that you kind of relate more to millennials?
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like being born in the late 90s, it feels like it's almost like a pseudo hybrid, like millennial Gen Z type of situation where like, I mean, I can communicate with somebody probably like Abel's age and be like, have you ever had a flip phone or something like that?
Yeah.
And it's like, probably not. I know what a floppy disk is. Watched
Really?
Drake and Josh growing up and stuff like that. So there's like some like small like nuances that we pull from millennials, but then like there are some things happening now in Gen Z where it was funny. I was at Chick-fil-A the other day and these kids were just goofing around, just using Gen Z lingo, but like it's like really, really like late Gen Z lingo where I'm like just listening to them talk. I'm like, I have no idea like what any of these words mean.
So we're all, I mean, we're making Layla family too. So we're all family here. When you look at Abel, do you think he's a younger dude? Like I've got a full-time job. I've moved on from high school. He's younger. He's a good bit younger than
Yeah.
me.
How old are you?
17.
17. So we are not, I'm 26. So
Yeah,
that's
so there's
9 years
a big
apart.
gap.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I mean, that's, but here's what's crazy. The older you get, the less that gap is. Like, I'm 48. I think of somebody 39, I'm like, peers.
Yeah, but like there's so much life in between those years though. I mean, like college,
I
I think
agree.
about, and then, yeah, just the amount of years you have into your full-time job and all of that. It's like that like can separate a 24-year-old from a 20-year-old like quick.
For sure. All right. First and last name, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how's life treating you?
Hi, my name is Brandon Allon Alondez. Brandon Allen's first name.
You just threw me off. I was like,
Yeah. And do I look at the camera? Do I look at them in the eyes?
you can look wherever you want, man.
Yeah. And I would say life is treating me at a 10 or like a 9 and a 10, somewhere in that area.
I'm going to
Like,
call you
around
out.
there.
I'm on Layla's team, so your life is perfect right now.
I wouldn't say it's perfect. So that's why I threw in that 9 a little bit. But like, dude, there's so much going on in life right now. But like, it sometimes stresses me out. But I just had this thought on the way here, like with me like freaking out over the client thing and everything like that. Like, God has put me in the place that I've dreamed of. Like when I was first stepping into my career in photography and like doing ministry and all of that. And just to like look at how things are now, even though I'm stressing out about it, I'm like, this is the stuff I prayed for. This is what I've always wanted. And so like to see God work through all of that,
That's
how
cool.
can I not call it anything over like a 7 or 8?
That's cool. You guys take it or leave it. And you can call it wisdom or stupidity. But I will say that as a 49-year-old and someone who's made it a goal in life to keep growing and keep after more peace in life, I will still have this as a common occurrence. I remember this morning thinking, gosh, I love my life. Like it's just, I just love what I do. And tomorrow, I wouldn't necessarily have sentiments like, oh, I hate my life, but I could literally tomorrow feel like life is so hard.
Yeah.
How is life? This is just so hard, so challenging. And that's just what life is. And I think that the goal is to figure out how to have peace throughout the ups and downs in life, because there will be ups and downs for sure.
Yeah. I saw this TikTok the other day and it was like this girl just sitting down, stressing out. She's like, oh man, I have so many clients. And then it just snaps back to a picture of like younger her. And it's like, OMG, we have clients. And so I try to just like pick on like what younger, like 18-year-old me would say about my situation now. It's like, all right, cool. Yeah, no, like I have a job, that's great. Like I have a place to live. I live in Charleston. So yeah, no, it's all great.
Do y'all think it's weird that I don't have a TikTok account? Is that like, wow, that's kind of weird?
I don't.
weird.
That's fine.
You don't either, Layla?
That's normal.
No, I don't even own TikTok. I don't have to.
Let me ask you this, Allon, as an older Gen Z, you were never on Facebook, correct?
I have been. Yeah.
You have been.
Yeah.
Is it more for career purposes though, not social?
No. When I was like I want to say 5th or 6th grade.
Wow.
I was super excited to hop on Facebook as a kid.
Wow.
I was like,
Wow.
this is so cool. Wait, I was probably in 4th grade.
Because this is what the grown-ups do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be so cool. I'm gonna message all my friends and like have my flip phone out, like trying to access the internet on it, and just wasn't working well at all. So yeah,
You are dispelling a lot of stereotypes I have of Gen Z, like a flip phone. Like most people would say, oh, Gen Z, they don't have any experience with flip
I feel
phones.
like
That's interesting.
definitely like, I mean, very early on I had it. I think I probably had it, and I had like a flip phone, but then I'd have like an iPod Touch, and so like that would be like my thing. But
Yes.
like hotspots weren't really a thing, so it would just be like if I needed like text or call or access internet, flip phone. If I wanted to play games or do whatever, listen to music, iPod.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome. All right. I do. Layla introduced herself, and her dad is one of my best friends. And he was on, ironically, the last summer series. We ended the last summer series with an episode. I think it was called The Summer Shorts, and everything was loosely or very related to the summer. And we ended with a safety episode. And so we had a dermatologist for skin safety. We had a professional lifeguard for ocean safety. And then her dad is a first responder, firefighter, so fire safety and just safety in general. And then Abel Walters, your dad is my friend also, and he can tell me what to do. He's my boss. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Yeah, so I'm Abel Walters. Allon, you put me in a little bit of a hard spot because I was going to lean more towards Layla's 7. That's what I kind of gone with. I think I kind of found myself in those years. Like right now, I'm praying through clarity on what I want to do after high school, and it's a rough season, but at the same time, I'm like so blessed for where God has me right now. So that's why I say 7. Just finished up basketball season, so I have so much free time to do this. It's amazing, but definitely just can feel some stress in the midst of it.
Yeah. Do you feel, and we'll get into more of this on our third recording, but do you feel a little bit of pressure in deciding what you want to do with your life?
Yeah, I mean, I really do, because
Do you know I went to college not knowing what I was going to do? It was called a pre-major. So I literally went to school and I was like, don't know what I'm going to do with my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you guys should do that because it's a waste of money.
Exactly.
So true.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's the thing. I feel like I'm leaning towards one way, but is that really what God has for me? It's definitely just brings a lot of stress that I'm just trying to pray through. So.
Yeah. All right. Hayes, is your last name pronounced Herlong?
Yes, good job.
Herlong.
Herlong.
Herlong. All right. Boom.
Like if you're describing somebody, they're tall. Herlong. Like, you know?
I'll never forget it. You just gave me a mnemonic device.
Yeah. There we go. Hi, guys. My name's Hayes.
What's your last name?
Herlong. Not hair long. A lot of people think it's that, but, you know, I'll respond to whatever. Life right now, I would say it's an 8. I have been able to, like, in this season right now, it's been a really cool time of just learning as much as I can. I feel like I'm in, like, a treasure hunt season where, like, my job right now, I get to learn from so many cool people. It's just like a gold mine of wisdom. And so all the while I get to, like, I'm having so much fun. Got to visit a friend this past weekend. I'm just in a cool season, but like everybody already shared, not perfect, still walking through stuff, but just grateful for where God has me.
Yeah. Well, guys, I'm excited about spending 3 episodes with y'all. So today, the topic at hand is tech and AI. Recording 2 for everyone will be church unity despite political differences, in which we'll also talk some about racism and how each of our contributors feel that it plays into society now. And then the boomers will, and Gen Xers for that matter, will be able to reflect on past and how far they think that we've come. And then we'll use the third recording for each group to kind of bring a lot of subject areas to the forefront, such as parenting, money, like we just talked with Abel, career stuff, and pressure to figure out what you're going to do in life. Y'all check this out. So I think this is super interesting stuff. So first of all, I found out that kids being born right now What generation do you think they are, Layla? Kids being born right now, babies.
Gen Beta.
Whoa.
Go, Layla.
Yes. Would you be honest? Would you have guessed that? Did you know that already?
I didn't think they were born yet.
No, we talked about it when we met the first time. You
Oh,
told me
she
that.
just is a sponge. She doesn't forget. There we go.
Just pays attention. Exposed Allon.
Genius. Hey, look, I was
Were
folding
you
laundry.
working on another application when we met last time?
I was folding laundry. I was doing house chores. I was being I was being a millennial.
So Gen Beta, they are born. These kids are being born starting in 2025. You guys are Gen Z, and then we have Millennials, and then I think all of y'all's parents, including myself, we're Gen Xers, and then you've got the baby boomers, and then the silent generation, and there are some people living on this earth from the greatest generation, but there is no more people from the lost generation.
Wow.
They're all gone because they were born, they stopped being born in 1900. So literally they would have to be like 125 years old. They're all gone.
Wow.
Rest in peace, lost generation.
Yeah.
We love you. But we'll talk more about these older generations with our boomers on their first recording. That's not y'all's assignment for today. So I want to give y'all a snapshot of, and I'm sure y'all have talked to your parents about some of this stuff, but what life looked like for me and what some of the things were that just absolutely blew my mind. And I kind of think y'all will be like, what in the world? But maybe you'll be like, no, I've heard this stuff. So I'll tell you two of the coolest moments in my life. Well, let me start with one of the biggest mysteries of my life. So I'm sitting on the floor in the living room with a friend of mine. I'm probably 8 years old. And his dad is sitting in the chair behind us. We're watching TV, and I'm just watching TV, and the channel flips. I'm like, whoa, what just happened? And I turn around, and he's just sitting there, And then the channel flips back to the other channel, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, is there a ghost controlling the TV? And I literally went home like, Mom, I don't know what happened, but I was on the living room floor at Jeffrey's house, and the TV just went from one channel to the next, and nobody was saying anything about it. It was just like normal. She's like, oh, that's called a remote control.
No way.
Your friend's father was probably sitting on the chair with this contraption called a remote control. He was controlling the TV from where he was sitting, and I was like, oh my gosh. Here's two of the most magical moments of my life when it comes to technology. One was in high school, having a CD player in the car. My mind was blown. Now, I had for a while been able to take a portable disc player, kind of like a Walkman where you hook up your headphones and you can carry it around. You could hook that up to the car, but to actually have a CD player in the dashboard, I was like, I don't know if I ever need anything else in life. This is just unbelievable. And now a lot of cars have them and you don't even use them. It's just like, what's that little slot there? Second most amazing time of my life is when it comes to tech, is I had a laptop with a built-in DVD player. Y'all, this was my third year as a school teacher. And I remember during breaks and between periods, I would put in a movie. It happened to be Unbreakable with Bruce Willis. And I would just push play and watch it for like 10 or 15 seconds because I could not believe I was watching a movie remotely. I was like, my gosh. That same year, I had a coworker. She had been a teacher for like 30 years. Y'all, she refused to input grades on the computer. She said, I'm not even going there. I've been doing things a certain way my whole teaching career, not inputting. Y'all, we all know if a teacher now were to say, I'm not using a computer, to be like, oh, you don't have a job anymore. But at that point in time, it was just like, okay, we'll cut her some slack. She can, do the grades on her book and then somebody else would input them. So, my cousin who was younger than me, her and her new husband, they were honeymooning in Myrtle Beach, and my dad wrote out a map. So you go down this road, and then you take a left on this road, and he drew a map. And then we thought we were unbelievably lucky when MapQuest came out.
Yep.
So MapQuest, you basically type in the address where you're leaving from, you type in the address where your destination is, and then you print out a map with step-by-step instructions. This is before cell phones.
Oh, wow.
So you've got pieces of paper that tells you where to go and each step of the way. I would say one of the biggest, craziest things to reflect on is when there were no cell phones, if someone was late, you expected someone to come and they were late, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You don't know if they forgot. You don't know if they got in a car wreck and died. Like, you're literally just waiting. And there was one time when my dad was late picking up my brother, and we called the house where my brother was in this study group, and we said, Jared, has your dad picked you up yet? And he said, well, I looked outside. I don't see Dad. Well, Dad was out there. My brother just didn't see him. But when my dad had left probably 30 minutes ago, it was like a 5-minute drive. So when he told us that Dad wasn't there yet, we freaked out. I called, my mom called her dad, and we got in the car with Grandpa.
Oh my gosh.
Freaking out, thinking my dad was dead because it had been so. And I mean, there's just you couldn't call him. You couldn't say, hey, what's up? What's going on? And now it's like you never have that issue. So what I want to ask you guys, and for all of these questions, feel free to not go too much in depth if you don't want to. There's no pressure. But when you hear stuff like that, do you think, wow, that sounds like a very weird world to live in? Do you think, man, that sounds very archaic? Like, just reflect on that a little bit.
Honestly, everything you've said sparked a memory of like times where like I'd be driving in the car with my sister and she would have a tape in the 1998 4Runner that she drove, and we would listen to music that way, and I drive a car with a CD player. And it's funny because it's like remnants are still here, but we don't live that way anymore. And so it's not a fully functioning thing, but it's like we live with these relics of the past that are like, I mean, I've got like an 06. What year were you born, Abel?
You've seen some artifacts recently.
He was born in 08. I drive a 2006 car.
Yeah, I have a 2006 car too.
Yes, it's kind of funny. But I remember teachers putting in grades in elementary school on a sheet of paper. It was like a grid, and they would write them in.
Wow. That's a shocker.
Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, it was weird. We went from chalkboards. I remember chalkboards in like kindergarten, second grade, and then whiteboards, and then projector, and then smart boards. And so we've seen it, grow over time in an interesting way. Mm-hmm. But we were so young. And so, yeah.
Layla, what about you when you hear some of those reflections?
Well, this is going to sound funny. My dad's dad, we call him Pappy, he keeps everything. And I mean, like, man is like borderline hoarder.
Yeah.
And so I can look back on he's obviously a boomer, what he had when he was a kid, and he'll give me like a whole history lesson. He'll be like, we used this, and now you just get to put it in a GPS on your phone. And I'm like, okay.
And he says that every time you see him, I bet.
Oh yeah, all the time, all the time. But he's a very nostalgic guy. And it's really cool to have someone like that in my life, because I don't just like get to, I think it's really cool to reflect on what I don't know about and what I haven't grown up with. But like, I remember a time before my phone, and like I got my phone in 8th grade. So, like if somebody was to mention a VHS tape, I'd be like, what does that do?
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't feel super out of the ordinary to me, because I know that it's normal for me, but it's not normal to anyone who's like older than me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, that makes sense, because I think about a world. So I grew up with video games. They were very primitive video games, but I grew up with them. And so I would say maybe how y'all reflect on my era would be like me reflecting on when TVs came out for the first time. Because I hear that from my parents, like when TVs came out, and then when it went from black and white to full color TV. And I do remember for Christmas, our family getting our first microwave. What about you when you think about this? It's probably you being the older, you're the elder statesman of the Gen Z.
That's crazy to think about. Like, yeah, I mean, I remember MapQuest when I was a kid. And like, I mean, I believe we would drive to like Florida with that thing sometimes. Like, I was born in New York, my grandparents were in Florida, so it was quite literally MapQuest down the East Coast. So it's crazy to think about that. But I think about my very first car that I purchased. It was a '99 Toyota Avalon. I was 16 at the time, so it was an old car. But still, like, I mean, it took was it It's not VHS.
Cassette tape?
Cassette tapes, yeah. And so like I would buy cassette tapes for the car, but because it was like more of a hybrid modern type, so my cassette tape would act as an aux, and so I'd plug that into my phone and play it that way. So it was like there's a little bit of like modern marrying, like I don't want to call it vintage, nostalgic, and doing it that way. So stuff like that. And now we have CarPlay, and so I just think about like how it's even involved in cars. But it's crazy to think now, because I mean, when we have kids, they're only gonna know what AI, like they're not gonna know life before that. And so you're gonna talk about that later in the podcast. But I think of things like that, like whoa, like being asked what life was like before that is gonna be one headache of a conversation.
Right. Well, eventually it's only going to be in the history books. I read where there's going to soon come a day when all the boomers are gone and Gen X will be the only generation to know what life was like fully before all technology.
It's crazy.
And then the onset of internet and all of that. How do you reflect on all that, Sable?
I mean, I feel like there definitely is a contrast, but I'm very similar to Layla in the point that like my grandma, like I grew up having the VHS, like she has a collection of all these Disney movies.
All on a shelf, I bet, presented.
Yeah, they were everywhere. And like my little brother actually is a big movie guy, so us both growing up, my people would just spoil us with all the CDs for the car rides and at the house. But for some reason, I definitely desire like what it was like to be in the world with no tech, because some of like my best experiences have been derived from the absence of the tech. And I think of like my going like custom hikes or at summer camp without it. So it definitely, and I think that like plays so much into it, hearing about all of this like from my parents and knowing I feel like much more than my little brothers do, and Adele growing up with all like anything at her fingertips, and it's definitely a different experience, different contrast. I think that what you were hitting on, Pastor Joey, definitely plays into it. Like me to Allon to like his parents, but like my little siblings and kids younger than us is just gonna keep being more of a span.
Yeah, for sure. What y'all are reflecting on and seeing in your grandparents' house will eventually only be seen in the museums. So that's a neat observation that y'all brought out, is y'all actually saw it with people that you love and you have a relationship with, but soon there'll be a day where it's like you don't see these things unless it's in a museum.
I will say too, like you mentioned that like I do photography full time, and part of that is I'm a third generation photographer. And so you even see like the evolve, like when it's personal with the technology, like it transforms everything. Like my great grandfather did photography, his son did photography. It skipped over my dad and then went to me. But like, I mean, my grandfather has cameras that I haven't inherited yet that he's like, I'm gonna hold on to this a little bit longer because it's his dad's. And I can't wait to like mess around with those. But like he's passed me down some of his cameras, and like just taking photos with them, it's like, whoa, like people used to like do these shoots and have no idea what their photos are going to look like after they get like scanned, developed, filmed, and all of that. And
have y'all seen the movies where in TV shows, old school days, where they put it in water to get them developed and everything?
So like all that stuff is crazy to me. I'm like, well, one, the photos can easily get ruined during the developing process if the person who's doing it's not careful. And I'm thinking, you shot this wedding.
Oh my gosh.
What happened to
you could ruin them all?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so like it's stuff like that where I'm like, this is like super delicate, but it's also really cool because I mean, I think sometimes we have to look back at things of the past and think of what can we take from that and bring it with us moving forward. Because like, I mean, even with like some of the film stuff, like you can never replicate the film look, like off of like actual film, real film. Like I've tried so many times with just modern photography, editing, cameras and all of that. I don't know, maybe photographers disagree, but I just think like some stuff like that is just, it's always going to be its own thing and it can never be replicated. And so like there's something special about like things that happen, like Technicolor TV, like before, like the way we have it now with like OLED, LED and stuff like that. Like that stuff is gorgeous in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like the modern stuff just doesn't replicate that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Some youngsters in y'all's generation, one of them being my daughter, and I could see this at the professional level, but just recreationally buying cameras, I'm like, you know how good the camera is in your phone? But are y'all noticing that? Like some of your peers are starting to buy cameras?
Yeah.
You have a camera? Why'd you buy one?
I have maybe 4
Whoa.
or 5.
Dang, okay.
I mean, like accrued over time. Like I thrifted.
So you collect cameras?
Well, here's the problem. I will buy one, and then I got a cool one from the thrift shop, and it was a 1965 rangefinder, and it was a film camera, and I used it for like years, and then I was in Togo. Or no, I don't know where I was. I think it was maybe Togo, but I took a picture, and then the what's this called where you click it?
The shutter.
Yeah, the shutter it went down, never came back up. And so at that rate, instead of, you may as well buy another one rather than probably get someone to fix it. But then I had another one, took a picture. What's this called? Allon, help me. He's the photographer.
That's also part of the shutter.
The shutter.
Right,
I'm having shutter issues, man.
Yeah.
It's shut and never opened. I had to get a new one. I go to Colorado. I'm like, maybe it's the altitude. I click it. It won't take a picture. I might just go straight back to the iPhone because I'm trying to appreciate.
I mean, y'all realize if people used to go on vacation, they'd buy a portable camera and they'd be like, oh my gosh, I only have 3 pictures left. Mm-hmm. I better save this for when we go up that mountain tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. So the rest of these questions really are kind of like, hey, what are your deeper opinions on these matters? And a lot of what we talked about, the conversations will differ per group of people that we're talking to, like I said, so we don't replicate the same conversations over and over. These questions will, for the most part, remain consistent so we can compare what each group and how they respond. So we'll start with Layla. When, in your opinion, should kids get smartphones? And also with that question, social media. When should they have access to social media? You're a parent and you've got kids. What's your rules, Layla?
If I was a mom, and I'm thinking, in the future, but I don't want my kid to have a phone until high school. And I'm going to say that because that was my rule, but I only got a phone in 8th grade because mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. And they needed to know where I was, what I was doing, all those things. So it was a need for me to have a phone so they were in contact with me. But me and one of my closest friends, Ryan, she didn't get her phone until high school, and I wouldn't have. But I want that to be a rule because I feel like at a certain age, 13 being like the 12, 13 being when you're going into high school, and saying like you can have a better relationship with the device, if that makes sense. But also knowing how to manage it while you are living at home with your parents at an age when you are not going to become immediately dependent on it. Like, I think it's really important to have a childhood without that little thing that you carry around in your pocket all day. And, having it in high school is important because you're getting more freedom. And I want to know where they are. I want to know what they're up to and, plans that they have after school for sports, what schedule changes that I'm not going to immediately hear about from the school. All that's really important for a high school student. Now, middle school, they're more communicative with the parents. I just, try to avoid that.
Mm-hmm. I love your answer, and I am observing. I think you used the word need, which I totally agree because I have kids, and I said the same thing. But just think, my parents didn't even have that option.
Yeah,
we couldn't. Mm-hmm. Me and my brother, we were out and about, and we didn't have a cell phone. What do you think, Allon?
I don't know. It's not something I've thought about too much. But I would say, I don't know, like, how pushed like the idea of having like a flip phone is or still something like that. I think there's something like just great about just saying, hey, text mom and dad if you need anything around school, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But they don't need all the distractions so early on of like what an iPhone brings. I do like that they're starting to come out with phones that are just very bare bones. Like you can maybe access this for whatever amount of time or stuff like that. But like the parental controls and all that, it gives me some form of confidence in like giving it to them at a younger age. But like, I mean, I'd say like realistically, like the second half of middle school, 7th, 8th grade, probably the right time to do it, just because, I mean, it still gives them time to contact people, and like phones are just becoming like a larger part of everyone's life. So I don't know what it looks like for Abel, but I mean, when did you get your first phone?
I'm into it, but 13.
13.
I think I had 13.
Okay, it's still high school. So I got mine around, like my first iPhone around that time. So, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. And back to you, Layla, on social media. Is there a difference as far as smartphones and social media?
Oh, 100%. I feel strongly about this because it was a rule for me, but it helped me in so many ways. I would say phone at 16, social media. Phone at 13, social media at 16. Just because something about me, I'm a wildlife leader, which is like I mentor middle school girls in my community, and I'm like a big sister figure, which is huge. But I volunteer for Young Life and Wildlife, if you know what that is. But 6th through 8th grade girls, I get to just like walk in life through them and be like, if they don't have an older sibling, I get to be like, hey, it's not that big of a deal, or like I can walk you through this, we can talk about it, but in a Christian big sister way, because that's what Young Life is we want God to use us and to reach the younger generation and kids who yet don't know God yet and all that stuff. But like girls who already have phones, I have several girls who don't even know how to use a phone because their parents are just like, you can't have a phone till you're 18 or something like that. But the girls who I do know who are like 12 with Instagram and social media, they have insane comparison issues and these crazy insecurities that I never had as a kid because I didn't have social media. I didn't have Instagram until I was 16, and I'm 17, so I've had it for a year. But like even knowing myself now, I struggle with comparison and those kinds of things. And to imagine going through everything that I went through in middle school with Instagram and Snapchat and stuff like that on top of it is kind of heartbreaking, honestly, because it's so impossibly difficult to just constantly compare yourself to people online and all these impossible, like, this is what I want this to look like. Here's the aesthetic. Here's this, whatever. And then beat yourself up about it internally, especially as girls. And just be like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not pretty enough. Oh, I'm not this. I'll be single forever. Oh, all these other things. And like, I've had girls literally cry in my arms because they think that their life is over because one person said this about them on their Instagram feed. And it's really heartbreaking because you're like, I never had to deal with that because my parents had the rule of like, Layla, no Instagram until you're 16. And I was like, okay, I guess, whatever. And I'm very grateful that that was the rule.
Yeah.
And I literally ended up deleting Snapchat on my own. I got Snapchat at 14 or 15 because it was a lesser social media, but it's still social media. And I deleted it on my own because I found myself turning on the camera and then beating myself up because I was like, oh, well, I look ugly all the time. You know what I mean? And I had to delete it because I was telling myself lies over just ending up looking at myself.
Good stuff, Layla. All right. You want to wrap it up with social media and then we'll get to these guys?
It's a fascinating topic to me because my job and my life quite literally is social media. Like that's the essence of my career. And I was just listening to what you were saying, and it made me curious. I'm like, I wonder what this will look like with us knowing all of that and with all the comparison stuff when it comes to us giving our kids a phone. Like, how are we going to raise them to prepare for something like that, even at a younger age too, if that ends up being the case. But it just made me think of like, because I think I'm realizing that I was probably exposed to social media at a younger age. But then I realized like a lot of that too is just like the beauty of what you can do with communication too. Like, my dad, he's from the Philippines. My mom's parents, they're from Haiti. So a lot of my family, a lot of them are from outside the country. And so like when it comes to, growing up, probably communicating with people on a cell phone, or not even a cell phone, it's just a telephone, right? Like that's very expensive. And so like, with me growing up still like doing communication, it's still expensive today, like across continents, crazy expensive.
Yep.
And so like, I think about like my family in the Philippines, being able to contact them through Facebook because WhatsApp wasn't a thing, like was just easy for us to do. So I think there is like the struggle of like comparison. It really just goes down to like, I have to raise my kid to know how to use social media the right way. Like that's going to be something that parents are going to have to teach their kids. It's just something that like, I mean, our parents didn't really know how to do yet because they didn't know fully like what this social media thing is, how it's going to affect people later on. But now that we know that, like, that's going to just have to be a natural part of raising a child, is like, hey, this is what it is. This is how it's supposed to be used. And like all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's good. What do you think?
Yeah.
Abel, about all
So
this?
very similar with Layla in the sense that I got my first phone 13 and social media at 15. Couldn't get it. Asked my mom over and over again, like that 13 to 15 span, can I get social media? It was always no, and I'm very thankful she did that. But this is the funny, quick little story. So I get my phone at 13, and it's always been a maturity thing with my dad. It's like, Abel, it's not about the price, it's about you being able to handle it. And which is so true. But then guess what happened? So as we're working our way down the line, my brothers are getting it way before 13.
Yeah,
So
that's how it works.
And oh my goodness, dude. Man. So I wish I
you
think
little punk little brother.
14-year-old me could be happy at seeing my freshly turned 10-year-old brother get that phone for Christmas. I wish I could say that I was thrilled for him, but I was like, man, what is this? Like, and I think my parents, and then my dad was like telling me this different thing. He's like, oh, the plan's different. Plan's different now. It's cheaper. I'm like, that's not what you told me. That's not what it used to be.
I thought it was about maturity.
Exactly.
He's selling out his dad on the podcast.
Yes, I'm sorry, Dad. But I gotta tell him the truth. But yeah, and I kind of just I think I'm not gonna say they regret making that choice, but my dad always brought up, like, I definitely saw them taking away my brother's phones way more than they saw me doing that, because I feel like I just need to steward that. And even with social media, my mom only let me get Instagram, and then I have it deleted as of now. But I'm definitely just so grateful for the way they kind of instilled that in me. And every time I asked, she kind of shaped it to where I would further have to steward it when I get it. And to Allon's point, like, we know the effects of it, so how are we going to change it? And I think we can definitely have an impact in that sort. But yeah, it's definitely just it's crazy because Adele's got a 5 years old, got an iPad, and it's like it's
and
crazy.
she's on Snap and Instagram. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
She's verified on Instagram.
It's funny how she's got, like, at least she's got her ABC or like whatever, or like, or ABC.mouse or whatever you call it on there. So she's doing that, but it's still like, it's crazy how it's changing a bit, and it's definitely weird to see. But social media aspect, I think it's definitely better to hold off on that until, like, your kid will know how to manage it. And that's where my mom had talked so much about it with me before getting it that I feel like I was ready to have it. And even like now having it, I feel like we'll go into it later. It's just so easy to get caught up in social media and the reels and whatnot, and in comparison, the reels especially. But but it can really just become so much of your identity and taking up your time. So it's definitely like such a good mindset to steward it, but also with their kids, to not just let them free and all they do.
Yep. Nice stuff.
Yeah, I think it's funny to think about the concept of phones and social media. I do take pride in that I got a sliding phone first.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. It was blue, it was an LG phone, and the screen was forward, like not horizontal, vertical. And then when I turned it and slid it turned horizontal.
It had like a whole keyboard
it was awesome.
on it.
Yep, whole keyboard.
That's awesome.
I could take pictures on that. I got that phone when I was 10. And honestly, I think my friend, I went to her birthday party, her 10th birthday party. She got the same phone in purple. And I got in the car and I said, guys, what are we doing? Like, I need this phone. I'm 10 now. What, guys? I'm 10. Yeah. Come on. Don't you want me to have this? And so I did end up getting a sliding phone. I could really only text and call And at the time, I was a competitive gymnast, and so it was really intense. Like, as the 10-year-old, we would have practice from 9 to 2, so it was like 5 hours of practice. And honestly, I think that was part of the reason getting it. And then I got social media actually when I was in 6th grade. And so I was 12 or 13 when I got Instagram for the first time, but Instagram had only been around for a year. And so I think that, like, when I say that, that's like, oh my gosh, you were so young. But then looking back at what it was versus what it is now,
Yeah, it was literally people taking pictures and posting them.
Totally different. And so it's like, I know, like, for example, my older sister, she's 29. And when she got Instagram, it was like when it first came out, but she says that they just used it for the filters and to edit photos, because that was like one of the first apps that you could like edit pictures. And yeah, I just remember, like, my younger sister, I mean, what it was then is that I remember her posting a picture of her holding up a lizard she found outside, and she said, 30 likes and I'll eat this thing. And that's what it was. And I'm gonna hot take, I think we should make Instagram more casual again, like that. Yes. She got 30 likes and deleted the picture because she didn't want to eat it. But looking at the way that it is now, honestly, first of all, it's like not even, when I scroll on there, it's not even my friends. It's just reels. It's often a lot of reels and a lot of ads and a lot of things you can't control. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is sponsored, but I didn't choose for it to be on my Instagram feed. And I think it's even interesting that it's called feed, because I watch, like, you know, the days that I spend a long time on there, it's like I'm feeding myself this. And I see the way that it affects me. And so I think that thinking in terms of, like, when I would allow my child to get social media, I love how you said, Abel, that it was a maturity thing for your family and like a stewardship. And I think the longer that you can delay gratification, the more weight that you understand something has. And I know that it's just Instagram or social media, but, like, it is something to be stewarded, you know? You're putting things out there, you're representing Jesus, you are representing yourself, and you're taking things in. And so it's like, if you don't have a strong conviction of, like, this is who I am, and this is what's good for me, this is what's not good for me, if you get it too soon, it can definitely be detrimental. And so I would say, I don't know, like, getting a phone, I feel like it's important to have in high school, but also we live in a world that's like, if I go somewhere, I can turn any direction and find a phone to call someone if it's an actual emergency. And so high school, maybe driving, especially when they're driving, for safety. But I would say social media, maybe 16 to 18. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And I think, honestly, hot take, I think it's getting cooler to not have it.
Yeah.
I think even our generation, like, if I meet someone and they're like, oh, I actually don't have social media, I'm like, you are so much cooler than me.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
It makes them mysterious.
Yes, I'm like, the lore. The lore that you have.
Like, what's your story? Can't find it online.
Who are you?
Are you from the future?
Exactly.
Are you a
it's
god?
better this way.
Yeah. You know, you brought up a really interesting point. I was just thinking about that, like, the maturity when it comes to social media. I don't know if you heard of the concept, like, just digital footprint, which is just like, I mean, whatever you post on the internet, you have to assume, like, some way, somehow, it's going to stay out on the internet. Like, if you make a fool of yourself on the internet and all of that, like, if you get it too early and you do something really dumb, well, then guess what? Someone, like, people collect clips all the time now. So, I mean, it's out there. Like, my algorithm can get really jacked up sometimes. And so, like, I'll just see, like, this high school kid make a fool of himself, and then that thing has, like, 1 million views from a spoof account of some sorts. And it's like, dang, that's not even his account. Like, his friend just, like, it might not even be your account. Your friend can take a video of you and throw it online, and then that does it. So, like, no one's really safe from that. But, like, yeah, I mean, like, you don't want to give your kid permission to hop on IG and then do something really dumb, and it ruin their future later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, I just looked this up. I wasn't checking sports scores while y'all were talking. Gen Z spends an average of 6 hours and 5 minutes to 6 hours and 27 minutes on their smartphones daily. My question, y'all have already touched on it a little bit, but when I was probably middle and high school, we had just, it caught on like widespread, cigarettes are bad for you. Like, I don't know if y'all realize this, but in the 60s and 70s, maybe 70s is a stretch. Definitely in the 60s, they had no idea. It's just something that you did. They didn't know that it was killing your lungs. I mean, it kind of makes that generation seem a little foolish. It's like it's smoke that you're breathing in. But by the time I was in high school, it's like, hey, this is really bad for you. And now it's very uncommon. I mean, it used to be very common to see people smoking. You had in restaurants smoking section, non-smoking section.
Yeah.
Now people just don't smoke. There's some rare exceptions for sure. Do you think that society self-corrects that stat that I just said? I don't. I think we're just moving further and further into a technological age. And part of me is just like, I'm just accepting it for what it is. And I think you touched on this. It's like, you can't change where we're going, but let's maybe change how we exist in this thing. But I'm a little pessimistic as far as society self-correcting, because I think technology is going to get newer and newer, quicker and quicker, and it's just so intoxicating. It's like, oh, I just got to have more of it. But do y'all think that we self-correct? Because you just said that you think people are cool when they say, I'm not on social media. Is that going to become more normal for youngsters to say, I don't want any of it?
Yeah.
I mean, my kind of thoughts on it is that's a really interesting perspective, Pastor Joey, but I feel like a little bit more would have to happen, because, I mean, right now people, I think, know the effects social media can have on you, and now it's not necessarily positive, it can be negative, and they do it anyways. So I think, a little more would have to happen down the line. I think it could be possible, and we might not be too far gone, but is it likely? I'm not sure, just because I feel like the effects would have to be a little bit more drastic, because people already know they're wasting their time, and their kind of just mind is stuck in this social media realm. But I mean, at least for like the cigarettes thing you're talking about, it's interesting, because those effects are very drastic, obviously, and I don't know. I just think a little bit more would have to happen for people to get out of this, like further development of what you were talking about.
Yeah. I think that something really interesting just about social media and what becomes the trend, because like, it could eventually become a trend to like not be on your phone very much, or, whatever. But I would love to see myself as an optimist. I try to be for the most part, but like, especially when it comes to just technology and how dependent we could become on it, and how much depression and, suicide rates and things like that, just what social media can do to people, and what I've seen it do to me, what I've seen it do to friends. It's hard to be optimistic, because it's just like, it's made to be, a time suck. It's made to be addictive. And your phone is just, especially as someone who's 17, it's just so easy to like reach for it, because it's right there, and I can like look something up and know something immediately. Or, oh, I wonder if this girl like posted this thing, or, whatever. It could be anything. And I reach for my phone for so many things every day. And I'm just, it could totally become a thing where, it could become cool to no longer be on your phone. Just like Hayes says, if I meet somebody who doesn't have social media, I'm immediately like, you're kind of cool. Like, I want to get to know more about you. But like, I'm someone who does have it, but I'm also someone with a 20-minute time limit on it. And I catch myself all the time being like, why am I sitting on this app when all I am seeing are this political negative thing, or, oh, this person did this, or, oh, whatever. And
You know what I think is interesting? I'm hopeful that the older groups will talk to me about this, but I hear a lot of older generations, including mine, critiquing you guys like, oh, y'all don't even know how to be bored. And I'm thinking, neither do we anymore. We have the same daggum phones, and we're doing the same things.
Yes.
And I will pat myself on the back a little bit. I'm trying to relearn how to just sit and not be entertained, and to be in my thoughts. I'm trying to make that a little more routine, but it's crazy. Even boomers are always on their devices. The ones that I know, I mean, they're pretty much always on their devices. Yeah. But you guys are the ones that just don't have this stuff together.
I
just
get
blame
it.
it on us. That's all we know.
Yeah. I also I catch older generations constantly blaming Gen Z and being like, oh, well, you're so lazy because you're addicted to your phone and all of this stuff. And and they're like, oh, you could have totally avoided it. And then like the clap back would be like, well, who raised us?
Mm-hmm.
And then they sit there and they think about it and they're like,
oh yeah, I contributed to that a little bit.
I guess I kind of, okay, I'll stop talking about it now, but
that's funny.
Yeah, I think there's definitely like a misconception with that because I mean, as it used to be, you need to find it yourself or having to have face-to-face talks when we can be more digital and that we may not be as intentional as they are with relationships because of this digital world or because we can go to find something on Safari that quick. And that's where I think like the perspectives come into play along those lines. Yeah. And definitely just the misconception.
Do you guys think that the gap between personal in the flesh in the same city, I can hang out with them, friends, and then internet friends that you may never meet, do you think that gap is becoming less and less? I do, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I get the whole thing, like, hey, being in the same room, there's just something about it. I get it, but I also think you can make really good friends online and never necessarily hug them or shake their hands. Like, what do you guys think?
I think that's interesting. I don't have online friends. Like, I've never met someone over an app, if that makes sense, and then only been in contact with them through a screen. But I it's the main source of communication if I want to reach out to a friend, like, hey, what are you doing today? What are you up to? What you doing? Whatever. And I have long distance friends where most of our relationship is online because like my friend Esme, she lives out in Colorado. So I have to Marco Polo her. I have to, whatever. And
real quick, a lot of the boomers were like, y'all, how do y'all get in a pool and play Marco Polo when she's in Colorado?
That's so funny. Marco Polo's a video app, so I can actually see her face. But like, I know in my friend group we really value like one-on-one time, but it's also like online communication can become something that's super draining. And I figured that out just through past or current friendships and like getting into an argument over text because you can't read someone's tone, or a screen is something to hide behind. You know what I mean? Like you don't actually know who you're talking to until you meet them in person is kind of like how I think about it.
Any more thoughts before we move on to AI? Go ahead.
It just makes me giggle because I'm like, Layla, you're my internet friend so far. I've never met you yet in real life. So far, it's going pretty well.
Hey, you have your first 3 internet friends.
Yeah, it's
Layla.
true.
There you go.
It's true. Nice to meet you, Layla.
Nice to meet you.
It's not the first time we're talking, but
True.
Yeah, I think that the gap between online community and real life community is, I don't know, I feel like I can speak to it a little bit, but not much because I have long distance friends, but the foundation is in-person relationship. And so, but I know there is a huge community of people that whether are sick / like can't be around community. I think it's a beautiful thing to be a part of Seacoast Online and have friends like Allon was saying, using the phone and social media as a tool to connect with others. But I think it's just such an easy rabbit trail and an easy, like, slippery slope to go to not be used as a tool, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally.
I thought about this phrase that's like kind of been passed down my family. And so like my grandpa would raise my dad telling him like, hey, friends don't exist. And then my dad would try to raise me saying, friends exist, they just don't last. And then I'm like being raised in my generation. I'm like, I think they can. Like, I mean, I think they exist. I think they last for as long as we want because we do have technology. I've been able to travel around the country a little bit. And I don't just make friends off the internet just like by starting on the internet for the most part. I mean, a lot of it, as a lot of my internet friends, they've started off as friendships I've met in person, and then we've just kept in touch for all these years afterwards. So like that's like the optimistic side of the internet and all that. Like it's amazing how that works. And even my mentor, like we met in Houston when I lived there, and then his mentorship towards me continued through just texting, calling, all that stuff. So like I do think like, I mean, he's an, I guess, internet friend now. I'm defining it as like just people you communicate exclusive with on the interview or on the internet.
Yeah.
And so like even like friends that I've been with since like 2018, 2019 when I worked at a summer camp, like we don't work at that same camp anymore. We don't live in the same town, same city or anything like that. We probably see each other once every 3 years.
Yeah.
And yet like we've been able to meet up together every now and then and just like treat it like the same way it's online. We just joke around and do the same thing. We communicate every single day. So it's awesome.
Yeah, y'all probably know this, but maybe you haven't like really thought about it. But y'all realize when I graduated from high school in 95, there was a good solid 10 years where you lose contact with everyone unless you call them on the phone or you're in the same town. So when MySpace was something that preceded Facebook, when these things came out, it was like reconnecting with people you haven't seen in like 10 to 15 years where you guys never lost that.
Yeah.
Y'all had consistently, you graduate from high school, you don't lose touch if you don't want to because they're on social media. We had no idea how people were doing. No clue how old Johnny's doing, you know?
That's crazy.
It's like, whoa, then they have a kid, they're doing all this stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, wow, they're married.
That's
Whoa.
crazy. Whoa.
Yep. All right. Y'all want to chime in on anything that we've talked about? What we're going to do now is I'm going to get y'all's take on excitement and or concerns about AI. And then I've got one more question to wrap us up that I did not tell you guys about. So
All right.
y'all have anything y'all want to chime in on what we've already talked about before we move on to AI, or is everybody good?
Good.
I mean, a little bit on the face-to-face part. I think that the internet can definitely allow those relationships to thrive, but having just that groundwork of face-to-face connection. I mean, I think for me right now, my oldest sister, Anna J, is in the backwoods of Mississippi doing student teaching. She's a bio teacher, but I really don't know what it would look like without being able to FaceTime her and talk to her a lot. So I think having that long-distance communication is really just such a tool and a blessing. I think they can be built off both, but there's definitely a different contrast and kind of behind being able to see somebody face-to-face. And I think Layla and Hayes kind of hit on it a little bit and like hit the spot, but you can just learn so much about a person from the way they kind of live and the conversation you have with them face to face that texting them might look different. I'm sure we'd probably figure a little bit more about Layla if she was in person, even though we see her there and we know
That's
a
interesting.
lot, but I think there's definitely a little bit more we could know about her if it was face to face. I mean, we don't know what shoes she's wearing or
Pajamas.
or,
Actually, I am.
So I think that's definitely a thing to consider, but I think both can just bring some good fruit.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like in the 19th century, kids, if they got married and moved to another state, parents literally are like, I don't know if I'll ever see or talk to my kid again.
That's crazy.
Because there's no cars, there's no planes. It's like you got to get in a horse and buggy and go for days to in order just to see them, and you may just not make that trip, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Going off of that too, it's like it's so layered when it comes to like communication with online friends and everything like that. Because like I feel like you can measure your closeness to somebody based on how you're willing to communicate with them. So like everyone, the standard's texting, right? But there's only a few people who I'm like going to call to check up on them. Like I want to call to have a genuine conversation, not just like to ask you a question and like that's it. Like I probably, with all my close friends, I'm more quick to just call them than want to text them because I'm like, I mean, if I'm texting them, I'm texting in paragraphs and we have voice memos, but like nothing beats calling. And so I guess, is that, can I call that old fashioned calling? Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Like, calling's cool. So I love doing that. And then like, if you're really, really close, then like I'll do a FaceTime or I'll do like a video chat or whatever. And so like, it's so funny to see like, all right, this is the boundary to have for each person specifically. So you can measure like, I don't don't measure friendships, but like the people who are in my innermost circle, I'm going to be doing that with.
Mm-hmm. I will say that unless you're super close friends, at least this is Joey Svensson talking. Stop with voicemail. Like if you can't reach someone, just text them. I don't want to listen to your voicemail.
I feel the same.
I think they're
unless you're a buddy and I want to hear your voice, like I don't want to have to go and push play and then listen. Just text me for crying out loud. But you like it.
You also send voice memos.
Yeah.
Because
So just one of those.
But here's what I'll say. You get to keep your voicemails. And so I got voicemails from people who I'm like, my grandpa, I'm like, he's died.
Wow.
But I can hear him leave me a message, and my Aunt Beth. But I recently called my dad and he didn't pick up. And I was like, I don't leave messages. I really am someone who just doesn't. But I think it's kind of funny. It's like a one-off thing. And I left him a voicemail. I could walk to his house. Like, it's just weird. But I was very concerned. So this brings us to our next topic, because you know how the new contact picture shows up sometimes? It's like update contact photo. I was like, Dad, hey Dad, what's up? It's Hayes. I just calling, had a question for you, but I'm really concerned. Is this new contact picture AI, or is that actually you? Because it doesn't, like, I don't know if you just shaved your beard, or is this AI? Like, I am getting tricked just like every other generation, maybe not Gen Alpha, but I'm like, So I left a voicemail and I was worried about AI.
Yep. And what's crazy now with AI, the concerns are across the map. Your dad can literally pick up the phone and hear you and be like, oh, Hayes, but you're freaking out and you're like, Dad, something blah, blah, blah happened. Can you please send me $2,000?
Yes,
and
take your voice.
It's just insane. So there's so many different directions we can go with AI. I want to keep very general, and if you want to use some examples as to why you're optimistic and excited and or concerned, feel free. We're just not going to go in all sorts of directions because we could talk about it for 10 episodes. But just in general, are you more excited or more concerned, Allon?
It's like a mixture of both, and I hate to be like neutral on that, but I mean, I like it in terms of like the things that it can do. Like, I mean, for just like the practicalities of just finding information, I treat it as if it's like a faster Google. Like, I want to be able to find my answer quickly, just type it in the chat and it just gives me my answer. Like, that's great. But like the image generation, like I'm a creative too. So like I hate that type of stuff for the most part. Like, I don't want to generate me an image of whatever. I just want to be able to capture the image, or like even like with graphic design, I'd rather hire a designer. Like all that stuff to me, it just, whenever I see something online and like I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see like an AI generated situation happen, I just roll my eyes, because I'm like, I just want like the natural, like the fun in all of this is that it's just stuff that you can't make up, right? I mean, like that phrase, you can't make that up. Like that doesn't apply to AI because it's made up. So I mean, I just want real stuff. And so I think like when it comes to like Gen Z and dealing with that, it's always going to be a tension point, because I mean, I'm learning into social media too. The stuff that does really well is the stuff that's real, genuine, and raw.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I could overproduce a video with my camera, throw it on social media, and that doesn't get nearly as many clicks as a video that I do on my iPhone. And so, I mean, I have the proof of that. Like, we did a video at Young Adults and that went viral, and it was just a dumb clip that I filmed off my iPhone versus like my camera. And so that just made me realize, I'm like, they just want something that they can relate to, that's genuine, that's raw. And so to have AI get involved in that part of our lives is just a big eye roll. I don't think any of us want that. And so I think it's always going to be this fight between like society and then the people who operate AI, who want to like make it marketable, make it applicable to our lives. There's always going to be that fight, because they're like, no, you do want this, and we're going to do everything that we can to make you want it. And then we're going to be like, no, we don't want it. And we might fall into it and then back up. And it's just always going to be that tension point.
Yeah. Video proof. No such thing anymore. You can't say, I'll prove it, I have video. It's like, whatever. Layla, what you think about AI?
I'm just like Allon. I'm so right in the middle about it. But like I literally last week, this is kind of funny. I downloaded ChatGPT on my phone because it's so much quicker than Google. Like,
Yep.
okay, I'm not even kidding. Last night, the pants I'm wearing right now are my pajama pants, but
Knew it.
I was running to get to a senior banner thing and I totally forgot, like, you know, to do makeup, whatever. And I threw my contour up in the air and it landed on these pants, which are like my favorite pair of pants because they're so soft. And there's like a big brown dot right on them. And I was like, oh, and I'm late and whatever. And so as soon as I got home, I was like, ChatGPT, the pants are made out of this. This is the exact product that I dropped on them. What do I do? And the stain is completely gone because it gave me a 4-step routine of like just how to get it out. But also like I hate that I will see a video online or I'll show my mom a video that I saw like, oh, this is hilarious. And I or she will question, is that real? Like, are you sure that that's like, you know, whatever. Or, you know, like using AI to make up a video that hurts other people or is just totally untrue and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm so in between.
Yeah. Our real quick, just kind of yes or no. Are y'all amazed at like ChatGPT? My generation, me, I'm like, I can't even believe this. Okay, so everybody's amazed.
Yes,
all right. Gotcha.
Totally.
Amazing.
All right, everybody's amazed. We all have that in common.
Yeah.
AI, what you think? Concerned, excited, neutral? You gonna get on the neutral bus?
No,
With,
I'm not
Allon
going to
and
be on the neutral bus. Oh, but maybe I'm on the hypocrite bus, so I'm sorry, I'm not perfect. But I'd say I'm more concerned than I am gung-ho about it, but I do use it. Usually I'll use it for like, say I'm in the kitchen and I'm like, I've got this and this and this, what can I make? And it'll give me a recipe. And so that is super convenient. But I think, honestly, a disheartening part of it has been that it is the perfect candidate for something to depend on. And I've watched people or I've been a part of conversations that have been like, man, I didn't know what to say in this conversation, so I asked chat. Or I don't know what I'm doing with my life, so I'm going to chat. Or like my boyfriend and I, this and that, like having problems with this friendship or whatever. And so it's going to chat, going for advice or guidance. And I'm like, you know, it can be a tool. It's like the quote that's like, can be a good servant but a terrible master. And for me, I've just seen it as like it can be a perfect counterfeit for the Lord. And like, you know, it's what's the word? Conditioning us to not know how to wait for things, I would say. Not be okay with tension or unanswered questions. Sometimes, honestly, I pray and ask the Lord, and He wants me to wrestle with Him for a few days or months or a whole season, and then He brings it to fruition, and I can see the full picture. But I think the more that I'm used to quickly being gratified, the more foreign it will feel to wrestle with God on something or to be okay with not knowing.
Yeah, that's very insightful. And we actually just had a conversation on this podcast. It's not released yet. Well, it will have been once people are hearing this. But the whole concept of biblical counseling and like there's apps now where you can say, hey, what's a biblically grounded solution to this sort of issue that I'm dealing with or this sort of predicament that I'm in. Wrap us up with AI and concerned or excited?
Yeah, I'd probably also say a little bit of both, but think I lean a little bit towards the pessimistic side. I think it can be such a tool, but I think it's different from any kind of tech that's been come out with in the sense that like every generation is kind of experiencing it and I guess testing it at the same time. And like my mom is kind of redesigning our entire kitchen space from AI.
That's cool.
And she like asked it, give me a warm, like she's I think it's like Italian kind of vibe, but like she's got a new dining room table, and she's always loved renovation. But I think it can also take, like to Alan's point, like creativity out of the mix. And
Did you just throw your mom under the bus too?
Dang.
No. I think it's really cool, and it kind of just gave her perspective. And I think she still obviously didn't like copy it, but kind of just used it as her own ideas. But one thing she also is doing, she's made like AI songs for all of us.
Oh yeah,
like on Valentine's Day,
That's cute.
which was
that is neat. That's kind of neat.
Like, this is really cool, Mom. It was like specific to me, and then she made one for all my brothers.
That's kind of cool.
So it's cool to see that, but also I guess one negative side of it was my brothers have made some pretty funny videos and with AI trying to mess with me with my face.
Oh my
So
god.
I'm not doing. So all that is kind of wild to me.
Yeah.
But I think it can definitely be used for good, but it can be so
be a
easy
really
to
good
go to.
tool.
And I think Haley's kind of talking about it, like, let me ask chat. Just so quick to get a response from it, and it really is kind of taking away our just ability to sit and think, because it's so accurate.
Here's a question I have. Do you think it's going to take over the workforce? Like, I hear a lot of, like, especially older generations, like, concerned about, like, oh, well, it's going to take over your job. It's going to take over your job. What do you think about that?
It just depends. I think it's going to be a very slow moving process, but it's already doing that for people who work on the line, like in a factory, like Amazon, for instance.
Right.
I mean, they've fired tons of people. So, but I think a lot of jobs it's going to take a while. And I mean, you think about, will humans ever wrap their mind, like people who value therapy and a therapist, would they ever be like, I'll just go with AI, because you just lose that personal connection. But there's a part of me that thinks that, my big question is, if AI replaces tons of jobs, then the government has to step in and change our capitalistic society into more of a socialist society.
Oh my
because
gosh.
people need certain amounts of money
Wow.
because they can't work, sort
Yeah.
of thing. I want to tell all four of you, you guys did a wonderful job. I'm giving myself props for picking you four. Layla, I wish you were in the studio, but you are well worth bringing in remotely.
Yes.
Y'all are just so much fun to talk to. So, have y'all heard of Heston James?
No.
So he is a TikTok. I hate giving him the influence. Y'all know what I mean by an influencer. I hate that terminology. All right, so here's what he does. He goes on a viral prank spree, and we're talking millions of views. He is in Arizona. He orchestrates disruptive pranks at local businesses.
I think I know.
Yeah.
I might actually know who this
I know
is.
where you're
Yeah.
going with this. I know
Including
this.
Yeah, I still don't know.
Pep Boys,
This is
Jiffy
crazy.
Lube, Chipotle. It's very entertaining. I must confess, it's very entertaining. He'll walk into Target with like 8 of his friends, all dressed in Target uniforms, pretending to be employees.
I know what you're talking
But
about now.
he poses as employees, accessing restricted areas, refusing to leave. Impersonating employees is an act considered as a felony.
Yeah, is
And
that a prank?
Yeah, for our listeners, some of the stuff that he'll do is he'll walk into Lowe's, for instance, with 2 other friends, and he will scream at the top of his lungs
His
like he's in
deep voice.
pain, and a manager will go out there and he's like, "Did you hear that scream? I don't know where it's coming
saw that
from."
video.
Yeah. So my question, causing chaos, distress in local businesses. Police says these are criminal acts, not playful, and he is facing up to $350,000 worth of fines and 9 years
What?
in prison.
Yeah.
My question
Wow.
to you guys, is that too severe? Or are you just like...
Well, I'm going to say no, because, like, you are knowingly filming and committing these felonies and crimes. And, I mean, he's making money off of it, which is even more insane to me. But, like, I've had this conversation with my dad where we made a joke about, like, I think you all know what ASMR is. Joe, you might not. But, like, people making hundreds of thousands of dollars off a camping ASMR video. And my dad, Hayne, being like, we should do that because we could make so much money. I'm like, Dad, why would we do that? Like, I don't want to do that. But just the kinds of things that social media makes, again, like trendy or popular, and what makes influencers, I don't like that word, money. And just the fact that you can knowingly take your phone out and be like, guys, I'm breaking into I'm not breaking it. Lowe's is a public space. I'm like going into Lowe's and I'm going to disrupt this entire workplace, make life on these employees so hard and, whatever. And just be like, how dare they find me or, whatever. And like, you get what you get. Like, you did that. And that's kind of, at this point, that's your punishment. That's the consequence. So.
Yeah, I have to say I'm pretty much on board with what Layla said. Anybody disagree strongly?
I think they're setting a precedent and a standard of what the consequence of it is, and I feel like it was going to be a matter of time before someone got. But I don't know, 9 years.
Yeah,
is crazy. I definitely feel like it's the stuff he's doing. That's crazy, and there are all these felonies, but like.
Yeah, I could see lessening the sentence.
I could see lessening that 9 years because
that's fair.
I obviously think that he needs to be, taught a lesson and punished to an extent, but I don't know, about almost a decade in jail is, I don't know, to me might be a little excessive for him just wanting to have the content and the clout that he's seeking, which is definitely not a great thing, but
I'd say at 315,000 fines, that's fine.
That's fine.
He's bringing in millions, I guarantee.
Exactly. You can make him run his check up, but I don't know. 9 years is
But, it's probably not going to be. He's probably not going to serve the entire 9 years.
Right.
Like, this probably going to be some probation or good behavior or whatever. But that just goes back to the idea of a self-correcting society, right? You just saw someone use social media to do something, I don't want to use the word heinous, that wasn't affecting anybody, but it was, it's a crime, like you said. And so they're doing crimes for content. And if that wasn't corrected, then everyone's going to be doing crimes for content. So this is that self-correction that we need to have. So when I look at something like that and see those numbers, I'm like, no, that makes sense. If you don't want society to move in this direction, you have to make an example of somebody to do that. And that's what you just saw.
Yep.
Yeah, especially if he's an influencer. If he's a leader, someone who's a leader is someone who has followers. And so if you're following him, you're probably going to follow in his footsteps. I kind of think about, if that were to happen in our context, if someone came in maybe during a service time or something and, caused a scene.
We'd call the cops.
We would, on purpose to elicit a reaction and pull the attention on them and then lie and deny it. It'd be like, what's happening here? Yeah, I don't know. Mind blown.
A crazy thought I just had, imagine somebody getting arrested in the 90s, 20-year sentence, had to serve the entire thing, comes out. What is this AI thing that's going on? What are these iPhones? What are these
Or someone who maybe has been in prison for a long time, since maybe the 80s, and then this new guy comes in and they're like, what are you here for? And he's like, I went on TikTok, I'm an influencer.
What is going on?
I'm getting a lot of views, but I'm pretending to be an employee here.
They'll be like, wait, you lost me at TikTok.
Yeah. Zero street cred for that guy. Yeah.
You've been listening to Seacoast Church's Things You Won't Hear on Sunday podcast. We are now on Instagram. Go to instagram.com/SeacoastPod for your one-stop shop to interact with this podcast and chime into the conversation. You can also be a patron of the podcast and receive exclusive content and live feeds of our recordings. All of your support goes towards Seacoast ministry efforts and local presence. All of this information is in the show notes. Thanks so much for listening.